Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning on our first Monday user group. Get started, I'll just explain a little bit what we're going to do here today and what it kind of looks like. So my name is Martin from Provident. I've got a couple of colleagues on the call as well. Lee is here, Candy is here, Z from Monday is here as well. And the idea today is our first what we're calling Monday user group. We're going to be doing this every month. I think on the second Wednesday of every month. So if something doesn't come up today, or you've got something that comes up in the future and you want us to have a look at it, then please let us know and come along to the next one. If you have colleagues, friends, even family, and they want to come along and learn more about Monday or ask questions about Monday, then this is the place to do it. We've got a number of different people here who've got lots of different experience with Monday, so hopefully we can help answer your questions, show you some use cases here. If there's something that comes up that where we're not able to answer it today, then by all means get in touch afterwards. We can have a chat individually, if that makes sense, and see where it goes from there. So just to explain what we're going to do. So we're going to run through a couple of different things today. So Lee's going to take us through an example of a risk matrix board and show some things around some conditional coloring and stuff, some quite cool ways that you can manage that. Z is going to talk to us a little bit about new Monday docs features and how you can use those. And then Candy's going to talk to us about the new Monday forms and the kind of conditional questioning that you can do on them, which is quite handy as well. They're just three examples we've picked out today. If you've got other stuff that you want us to look at, we do have some questions already that have come in from the kind of registration page. So we'll address some of those later on as well. Equally, if anything comes up, you've got a question on throughout the session, then please either put it in the chat or turn your mic on and ask us those. You are welcome at any stage to ask a question. We'd like this to be interactive. It's not a presentation. Yes, people are going to be showing us something, but it's not a super polished presentation by any means. If you do have questions, please jump in with them at any stage. Right, Lee, I'll leave it to you and show us what you've got here, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you so much. So hello, everybody. So I recently had a customer, a client that was using a risk matrix board like the one you see here now. And it was a very basic board. It was giving them a lot of good stuff. So you can see straight away that it's a very basic board. We've got risks down here. They've separated the risks out by stages so they can sort of track and monitor at what stage a risk is at. And they're actually using an automation on here to move the risk when it is on hold or closed. It will move into the relative groups. But that wasn't the problem. The problem that they were having was they were trying to calculate the risk scores. So you can see this column here where we have a risk score, and this had a matrix on it. So they had the matrix, which basically said, like, if the likelihood of a risk is, let's say, medium, and the severity is high, then their automation, which I haven't got in this board, would then set this this value here. So that's a very common automation that we see. There are a lot of different versions of the same automation that they need to calculate. So if it's low and low, it's medium and low, and so on and so on. So they were using lots and lots of different automations to be able to set that eventual risk score. Again, that was fine. But the problem was it was the visual impact of the actual board that was frustrating for them. So when we sat down and we talked, we looked at their issue, and we looked at this is the most important field that they had, or column that they had, the risk score. Now they could have just moved that column all the way to the left. So when they visually open up the page, they could see the risk and its score straight away. So they could have done that. But again, it was all of this other color in here. Now, we all love Monday. We love the Monday colors. We love all of these status columns. It's really easy to use. But for them, for this particular case, it wasn't popping out. So what we did is we changed how we're actually going to use this risk score. Instead of actually setting it with a status column, and if I just pop across onto here, this is the same board, but as you can see, it's got a lot more color in the actual board. And all we've done here is we've combined some formula columns and the feature of conditional coloring to really pop out and show the actual the representation of the actual score and the severity of the risks. So let me show you how this is done. We've kept this same two drop down, status columns in here, medium, low, and high, medium, low, and high. And then I've used this total RAID score, which is actually a formula column. So we've combined and used the formula column now to set the numeric value for the score, which is something that they will report on, and they can have that in charts and dashboards, etc. Now the formula is fairly long, but it's fairly straightforward in its makeup as well. All it's asking here is if the likelihood is high and the severity consequence is high, then output a score of 9. And we're repeating that all the way down the board. Okay, so it's just, again, repetition over and over and over, and setting all of the different scores for all of the various different options that are available. And then what we've done is also, because they still wanted to summarize it, I've used another formula column here just to say if that score is 1, then set it to trivial risk. If the score is 2, tolerable, and so on and so on. So that's given us the score, and it's given us the risk summary. And now because I've got this field here, or this column here with the total RAID score, I can then adopt and use the conditional coloring. Now I love this conditional coloring because I like color. I like to see, I'm a visual person. A lot of people like that as well, and especially this client, this is exactly what they wanted to see. They wanted a kind of a heat map to show on the actual page. When I look at any of the risks, this one is green, this one is red. Okay, so then they can see that. And it's really, really easy to do with this conditional coloring tool. Some of you may already use it, some of you may have not seen it before, but the process is effectively you add a condition, and then you can set it, it's either the cell or the row that it actually highlights. Now, having that whole row, especially if I've got lots and lots of columns on my board, still gives me that indicator even when I'm not looking at that status column. So we set in the whole row, and then we're just in here picking which field we're going to evaluate against. In this case, it was that score. And then we've got the operator is not, or contains, etc. And then the output of 6 in this case in here. So again, a really, really powerful visual way to use Monday. If you've got lots and lots of columns on here, like they effectively did have on here, they had a lot of noise, really, the way they had it set up. And it was really difficult to go and see and pick out, okay, that one is a moderate risk. So this is a fine example of not only just saving how many automations we're using, and also being able to maintain what they were using in here, which is the groups per status. I mean, they could have had a group for which score it is, and they could have used that particular makeup, but they wanted to have it separated in this way, but have that visual impact within the actual screen. So I really, really like this. I've used the conditional coloring on many other client systems. I use it on my own system as well. So if you haven't used it before, you know, definitely go and have a play and have a try with that. Okay, Lee, so that's
Lee. Just question if I
can.
So you just go over them between the. So this was the original one with the status changing, basically.
Yeah.
The risk, yeah, and then flick over then to the other view then.
Yeah, so just separating the view out. It's the same board. We're actually saving and using this view rather than the original view. And actually, when you're setting this up, when you are setting up the conditional coloring, every time you go in and add the conditional coloring, once I've modified it or changed it, I do have the option to save that as a brand new board view as well. And then, in fact, if I want this to be the view all of the time, then instead of every time I load the page and by default I get this page, I can actually set this view here to become the default view. So then that actually then, every time I load the page, it will then switch to this particular view. So this is the default view now. This is what we see. It's already got the conditional coloring in there. All the users need to do is go and add their item.
So in theory, you could, so I mean, in this case, obviously it's used for a risk matrix, but it could be anything at all, couldn't it? It could be.
Absolutely.
For example, if you had, I don't know, you had a CRM set up and you wanted to classify a high value lead, for example, you could highlight that in a particular color if that's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't just have to be a scoring field like this that you can use that conditional coloring. It could be any one of these fields that we have. Like if this was a status field, or so for instance, we got a status field in here, then we can actually set conditional colorings on the whole row to say, like, if it's high value, even if it's opened or closed or anything like that. You know, you can get to many of the fields on here.
Yeah.
And you can obviously see them from the list and pick out what you want and then set what colors you want it to be. And like I said, it's not just the row as well. If you wanted to keep it simple, you can have it just as the cell. So if I just save that view in here, you can see that it could actually be the cell that actually changes rather than the whole row. So, you know, many different ways you can actually use this.
Okay. It can be also as well for like deadlines. So if it's something is coming up and you want to highlight that in red instead of having reminders or having automation, so you just highlight what is coming up.
Yeah, so exactly, yeah. So if you had like a date close field like this, you can then use that date close to say is today, is the next 7 days, or whatever other options you may have. Yeah, so really, really powerful.
We actually have a few customers recently in the construction industry who use something similar because they're managing such long-term projects that could be, you know, anywhere between like 2 and 10 years. They use this as a way to flag where certain parts of that project aren't going well or they're behind schedule. So yeah, really cool, Lee.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, I'll stop share.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else, as I said, if you've got any questions at this stage, please do jump in. We want to make this interactive. And then Z, I think you were going to share something with us then just on Monday Docs, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just share my screen. So before I do that, we launched towards the end of last year Monday Docs, and it's been very well received by a lot of clients. I know a lot of people are using it already, but I wanted to demonstrate a way of using Monday Docs which is more than just a free text, you know, checklist, which I know a lot of people use it for at the moment. So one thing that we have added into Monday Docs is a lot of different features that allow you to, you know, not just have text or numerical list, but you're also able to add different things related to boards and widgets within Monday as well. So it's quite a good way to link up any data that you've got, any information you want to share and collaborate on. So for example, here I've put together a use case for a board meeting. I know when, you know, our management team go into board meetings, previously they've just been putting together massive board packs, which are big presentations, 20, 30 slides, and a lot of work goes into that. But if you already have that data in Monday, then you could actually use the doc as a live version of the board meeting pack. So you could have, for example, an agenda for this or for any meeting. You can actually here, what I've done is simply chosen a board from the list. So you can connect up any board that's in your workspace and present that data right there so everyone can see in real time what that looks like. If you need to dig into the numbers, you can do as well, or you can always open that board up separately. Another very cool thing about the Monday Docs is that you can drop in, copy and paste any pictures, images, code as well that can go into here. So if you have code reviews regularly with engineering teams, or even we've had use cases with legal teams who want to copy and paste a contract, and rather than using a Word doc that everyone makes amends to, and then you get something like a, you know, final contract V4 document, you can share that all within one space dynamically, add comments, make additions. So within here, you can see I've simply just copy and pasted the logos with debating which one is the best. And for example, if I wanted to ask someone's opinion, I can just say something like that, right? So we're not having to have a separate meeting about the logos. We're not having to waste anyone's time. And then really the last part I wanted to show you is how quickly we can take action points from a meeting, for example, and turn them into items within Monday. So here I've got a list of action points. I need to share the minutes, update the financial forecast, etc. So really simply, a new feature within WorkDocs is you can just add that to an item in a board. So I've already got a board set up here, which is for board meeting notes, and really just add that to the board, choose the right group, and then soon you'll see they start populating down here. And the really cool thing is if I stop looking at this board, if I don't have it in the doc itself, I can actually click on this, what's now a grouped item, assign a person to it, and also change the status and any other updates you need as well. So there's no need to leave the doc itself, go to another screen, make that change in the board now. You can all do that directly from the doc. So it's just another thing that we've built in to make working a bit easier, collaborate a bit easier within the work doc environment. And we think it's going to save a lot of time. And then finally, by popular demand, we know not everyone likes having things digitally or having things in a dynamic view. So we have made one small but fairly often requested change, which is giving you the option to export that to a PDF. So if you do have a long list of, a long work doc that, as sometimes is the case, it's better off to print and review on the train or however you prefer. You can just do that here.
That's really cool. See, I like that. I like the ability to create the tasks within a board directly from the doc. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That I can see a lot of applications for that. And then just scrolling back up at the top there, where you had a chart there. I think that's obviously a live chart, correct? It's
a live chart, exactly. That. Yeah. So it's pulling directly from a board that lives somewhere else.
Perfect. So in theory, you could have this this document as a recurring meeting document that you're using every time, and your revenue, in this case, chart, is going to be live data each and every time you have it.
Exactly that. So this part won't need to be updated. You'll just need to change the agenda and some of the other info that you need. But yeah, it becomes almost like a dashboard that you can add comments on. That's probably the best way to think about it.
Yeah, it's a good start. I'm thinking of other use cases. So again, from a sales perspective, let's say, you could look at pipeline, for example, on here, forecast, something like that, and you have that as part of your kind of weekly sales meeting. You could have it for, I guess, from a case, if you had, technical support or use cases or something like that, then again, you could have, ticket numbers or something that could show up in here. So lots of different use cases for that.
Yeah, and also another one to add to that is if you're in an engineering team and you need to look at sprints on a Gantt basis or on a time basis, that's another one which is used, I know, for some customers in their engineering stand-ups, Monday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, just 15 minutes to review everything, and you've got all of the data there. No one has to spend another half an hour trying to gather that. It's all live.
Brilliant. Very good. Nice.
Just one thing on there. So if I was looking at this, like the lovely chart that you've got in there, if we want to investigate that further, because that's a widget, could we drill through into one of those segments and actually see what's going on inside of that?
Yeah, so I think at the moment, not yet. It's something that's coming up in the release. What you can do in here, you'll be able to full screen and view that in more detail, and also change the actual
pretty good.
But yeah, not yet.
That's cool.
Great. Okay, nice development. Yeah, super.
I think another thing as well is like marketing teams or creative teams, when they're brainstorming, they can work on the same document at the same time, so everybody can add ideas or comments instead of being like saving the document, sending to email, and then adding comments and then send it back. So you just can all collaborate on the same document. And as well, you can have different versions of it. So you can have version 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So I think it's very handy as well. And then you can save the document in the board too, in the file column, which is amazing too. I think that's a new feature as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's handy. Very good. Super. Okay. Well, again, if anybody else has any questions, please jump in at any stage or put your questions in the chat, and we'll do what we can to answer those. Thanks for that, Z. Candy, then you're going to show us something, I think, on the forms, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to charge my screen. 1 second. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to talk about forms. Forms has been in Monday for quite a bit, but as you know, Monday always doing and releasing new features. So there's a new feature in the forms, which I find that is very powerful as well. So what I want to show you how you're gonna create a new form from now. So before it was you create the board and then you select a new view and then you create a form. But now you can just add a new form from here. So if you go to add, you know, the same way that you are in a new board or dashboard or a new document, you can create a new form too. So if you click in here, right, I'm just gonna do it again so you can see it. Then it comes with four different tabs at the top. By default, so you can see that you have a new form in here and you can start building up the form in the form, if that makes sense. And then you can see the main table as well. So as you add questions or the survey or anything, information that you're adding in the form, the main table is going to build up as well. And then you can see results. And then I think this is the best part because you can see all, like if you're doing any survey, you can create widgets from here. And then you can see, you know, how many new requests you have, a new response and so on. So this is very cool because it gives you a insight of what is happening or what's the result of that survey or that form that you're using. And the next one is that now you can see the response. And this is a feature that was asked so many from other clients that they want to see the response of the survey in a PDF document or in a different format, which you can do now. So if you go back to the form as well, so I just want to show you this one that I have built already. So as you know, you can start building and add questions. So what I have done here, I have different questions. So countries, do you like chocolates? Are you in? So when you add questions, you have this new feature that you can add low test, long test, number, single selected, multi-selected, which is a drop down. So you can choose different options from a drop down. True or false is the checkbox. So you can see, like, for example, I have a client that they want to make sure that everybody agree when they fill out the form or is any important documents. So they want them to agree with the terms and conditions. So they use a lot of true and false because you just go and here when you're using the form, if you preview this, they can just click in here and then they agree with the terms and conditions. What is very new in the form as well is that, for example, if you have this question or this one here, then you are able to include conditions, which is amazing. So for example, if the person is selecting no, you can add another question as well. So if you choose no, what happens? And do you have any other comments on that? Or you can just keep building condition to that. So this is a new form. And I think it's just, you know, very powerful as well. You can as well make it required if you want to. And then as well, if you want to keep building the form in the table, you can just go back to the table and start adding more questions in that. And then of course that will link to the form and then you will be able to share that with the clients. So yeah, so this is a new form if you have any question.
Yeah, just a thought on that then. So as you're building the questions then in the form here, it's creating the columns then in the table, is that right? Yeah,
that's right. So I'm gonna do like an example. Tell me more about you, right? This is a long test. And as I build this in here, that will be here as well in the board. Okay. So that's the difference from before. So you build from the form and then it adds in the table as well.
Okay, interesting. Okay. And then obviously then you could have then, as you said, you could have lots of conditional questions. So
yes,
you know, so I don't know, I want to go on holiday to Spain. What part of Spain do you want to go to?
Exactly. Yeah.
From there, yeah.
So for example, if you want to choose Spain and you want to add a condition, so you just click in here and you can choose if it's Spain, what part of Spain you want to go. So you can, if I add Spain here, I can add another question and that can be another single selection, right? So which city?
Yeah.
And you add, you know, Barcelona, Madrid, and so on. So, and then you keep building that, you can add condition on that too, Barcelona, which part of Barcelona, and so on.
Okay, wow, really good.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of recruitment companies as well who are looking for this kind of thing. is as part of a candidate screening. So the conditional questions could be something like, you know, do you have more than 2 years experience? And if so, which industry? And if so, from there, you know, you can upload a little response about how well you did there, or perhaps you need a document to prove that you've got the right certifications. So this could be actually quite useful in automating those questions that a recruiter might normally just ask a person on the phone, and save that interaction altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. And then by using the board, then you can create different groups that can just trigger automation and send them to the right group. If it's, you know, if you're hiring someone and that's a good fit, just move that to the specific group. And then, as I was saying as well, you have the results. So this is just an example of what reporting looks like. So I can see my form submission, how many I have. So I have 3 at the moment, and who has said yes or not. I have 1-on-1, and then it's exactly as a dashboard. So you just add new widgets, so you can choose from any of those widgets, and then, you know, add the data that you would like to see. And I think this is amazing because it's a quick view of what's happening, how's the interaction going. If you have a form of like 100 of people filling the form, you want just a very quick, you know, snapshot of what's happening.
And the next tab there, the form response view, I wasn't clear. What's that one do?
So this is to look at the person. So if one user replied to that form, they want to be able to print or see as a PDF. So for example, it can be like solicitors. So if you go through, you're filling a form and you put lots of documents and information, the solicitor would like to see that as a PDF document.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can save that then as a PDF, and then obviously you can download it, you can upload it, you can do whatever you want from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, really good. I like the idea. It's a completely different way of doing it, that you're creating the form.
Yeah.
With the form as opposed to starting with the table. It's quite different, but probably makes more sense.
Makes more sense looking at the form, because that's what you're going to send, right? If you're building from the board, which you just still can do it, you don't know how that is going to look in the form. So yeah, I like it too. Yeah.
What's nice about that is you can also visualize it from the point of view of the person filling out the form, rather than trying to guess where in the table they are.
Yeah. And then as well, there is something that you can't present as a survey. So forms are used a lot as a survey. So if you click in here, the preview is different. So it looks like this, like scrolling, and then it tells you, you know, your answer 1, 4, and then if you have different pages, it tells you more or less where you are at.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
As normal, Candy, then the customer can add their logos to this. They can embed it in their own website as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let me go here again. So you can add your logo, you can change the colors as well. So it's very friendly user. And I know Monday is working way more in forms, so more things are coming up, I'm sure. But at the moment, this is a new features release, but I'm sure that Q2 is going to come more and more new features in the form.
Yeah, I think one of the new fields there is a signature field.
Oh yes, that's so good. So yeah, so sometimes you want them to sign, like for example, people who construction companies, right? So they're on site all the time. They need them to fill out the form, or at least check that something is done, and they need a signature, right? So you can add that, and it's a very new one, which is signature. So you can add that, and then how it looks in preview, I will show you in here. Let me sorry, I added the wrong one. Did I? Okay. Signature. Right.
I think if you take off survey view, Candy, it will come to the top straight away.
All right. Okay. Are you gonna remove that? Okay. And I'm gonna preview again. And then you can have a signature here, so you can actually, you know, just type your form. I think this is asked a lot for construction, like in my experience. I don't know you, Lee, but they need, you know, be on site and being just signed that survey or form quick.
Yeah, we had a client that has a lot of people out on site, so they have to fill out all these risk assessments and all that other stuff. So very similar to what we're doing on here, but they have to sign at the bottom to say they understand that. Obviously, they're not going to want to carry around the laptops or anything like that with them or whatever. So being able to do that, rendering that view maybe on a mobile view and then using your tablet or your Apple Pen or whatever great things you have, or like I do with my finger, and it doesn't look like my signature whatsoever. But it's really being able to do that out on the field is valuable for a lot of people. So yeah,
no more printed.
Yeah.
So that will save a lot of paper anyway.
Okay, that's nice. I wasn't aware of that one. That's a really cool feature. I can see lots of use cases for that, where you want someone to just confirm something, agree something, whatever it might be. I'm thinking of, so many different use cases. I'm thinking of, I don't know, car showrooms. We have some clients I know who use Monday for kind of auditing and checklists and that kind of stuff. I could see that being useful there.
Yeah, we've used it recently, actually, this week to basically consent to having professional photographers for each of us. So
okay,
all sorts of use cases.
We use it a lot internally as well for anything that have with well-beings or HR, anything that we need to get information for all the team. We use it internally a lot. Yeah.
Okay, really good. I'm conscious of time, and we've actually run over the time that we allocated for this. If there's anybody on the call who'd like to ask any other questions at this time, I'd be happy to take those. Either unmute yourself, or you're welcome to type them into the chat as well. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, something that I can do as well, if you get in contact with us, we can share a presentation with all the new features for Q1. So, this is very quick, so we can show you everything that Monday has released for the first quarter.
Great. The question actually there from Reg, which is, are these features available on all plans? And Z, I think, they are. I think everything shown today is nothing exceptional in any of these.
Yeah, so everything we've shown today, the conditional formatting, the work docs, the new form layouts and process, it's available on every single plan, and there's nothing that customers have to do. They'll just auto refresh in their account.
Brilliant. Obviously, if there's anything we've covered today that you'd like more detail on, please get in contact. Happy to have a chat with you. Equally, if there's something we haven't covered today that you'd like to see or you've got questions about, please get in contact. As I said at the beginning, we will be doing these every month, second Wednesday of every month. Please come along if you've got questions. If you've got colleagues who might benefit from it, please do. Sam, you've got a question maybe?
Is this on the links to Power BI? Yes, I'd like to understand what the progress on the integration between Monday.com and Power BI is, if possible.
Yeah. So should we perhaps set up a separate session with you, Sam, and we can give you a bit of an update from Monday's side, as well as the progress that Provident have been working with us on?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Super, we can set that up. Okay, great. Well, look, let's say thanks everybody for joining us today. Really appreciate coming along and asking any questions. Said happy to engage with anybody on anything else. The next time it is on again next month, and we'd welcome you coming along then. Invite, as I said, friends, family, whoever you think would benefit from learning some more about Monday. Love to talk to them, and we'll talk to you again soon.